So good morning, everyone, and good afternoon for those joining us from Malawi. You're deeply welcome to this FEHE Higher Education Forum. I'll soon hand over to the chair, Dr. Yonah and Matemba. Before I do that, I just wanted to do a few housekeeping for those joining us in the room. We are not aware of any fire drills, so if you hear any fire alarms, you just go out the door to your left-hand side. There's a reception. We can take it from there. They'll show us where to go. And then for the bathrooms, they're just from outside the door, from the reception of the door, you go straight on your right-hand side. You see the toilets are on that side. And those joining us from online, just to ask you to remain muted until you're asked to speak. I'll hand over to Dr. Yonah. Over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Here in Scotland, of course, good afternoon. In Malawi, I think it's just past 12 in Malawi as we speak. So welcome to our forum for the FEHE and Higher Education Forum. And I want to welcome you all sincerely to our meeting. Here in Scotland, it's a little bit chilly this morning, but it's sunny as well. So if you mix us two, makes us smile a little bit. I'm mindful that in our midst here in Scotland, at least, we also welcoming our new students, those who have come to our various universities to study. Some might be here, others online, or others might hear about this welcome. So I just want to extend this special welcome to all of them as they settle in the various universities where they are located. The forum here meets regularly, and it's pleasing to note that since October last year, this is the fourth event we have had. We had one we had here in the same room, actually, in the city chambers in Glasgow. And we had another one that we had in Edinburgh, and we had another forum meeting back online. And now we have this one here, face-to-face, but also hybrid, because we have other colleagues online as well. Now, it excites me every time when we meet, because the Higher Education Forum is precisely for academics and people interested with anything to do with education, Scottish or Malawian. So if we have institutions, individuals, scholars, academics, teachers, practitioners, those who are interested in higher education in the two countries, this is the forum that they belong to. And we have been holding various events over the years. It's important for me to emphasize this because one of the things, at least the ultimate goal, is that academics and practitioners and researchers and scholars from the two nations begin to know one another, each other. They begin to also collaborate on various projects, ideas, and so on and so forth. And so it's important for me to emphasize that particular point. When you talk about partnership, is precisely what we're talking about, partnership in education in this case, and in this case, in higher education. Just quite quickly, as you may have heard, in Malawi, there's a lot of changes going on in the education sector. Professor Peter Mtikajasiya just published an interesting paper on teacher attrition or teacher problem. It's been going on for a long time. And I like the introduction to his paper. He recognizes that this problem, we've been talking about it before, and he'll go again. So there is a challenge of teacher attrition or teacher recruitment in Malawi, generally in Malawi. And so it's important for us to recognize that, that challenge that we have. But also you may have maybe heard through the grapevine or other official sources that there is a word that Malawi is changing its education system. They're calling it a curriculum review or curriculum change, but I think it's more of educational change rather than curriculum, because they're talking about structure of the education system itself to become something else. So look out to these important milestone changes. And I think these conversations, if we are jointly having these conversations, I think it will be helpful, because there might be areas where we can share ideas and knowledge and so on and so on, experiences on how best to go forward in implementing or even coming up with what we would describe as a new curriculum or a new education system in Malawi. There's a lot here to learn from one another and with each other. We have a full program today, and I'll be calling quite a number of colleagues, others here in this room, but others also online, to speak on a number of items and ideas that are on our program today. Maybe the first person I'd like to call with Elita. Elita was asking about you, and I thought that you had snipped back into Scotland, but I'm here, you are in Malawi, so I'm seeing you online, so I'm assuming you are in Malawi where you are. Elita, please introduce yourself for the benefit of all the members here, but also you've got an important report to make, and please do so regarding the Royal Society of Edinburgh report, or newsletter rather. Please, over to you, Elita.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yonah. I'm joining from Zomba here in Malawi. I'm Elita Chamdimba, and I recently graduated from the University of Strathclyde in Glasgow. I was a very active member and still am of the Scotland-Malawi partnership, and I particularly benefited from this forum. So a very warm welcome to all the new students who are joining this forum. I hope that you will make good use of it. It's a wonderful platform. I wanted to share as well on the Royal Society of Edinburgh, who have recently released a newsletter. So it's a newsletter that's called the Scotland Africa Horizons, and it's basically a newsletter that focuses on Scotland-Africa collaborations, particularly in the higher education sector. It comes out of a recommendation from the scoping reviews and the scoping exercise that the Africa Working Group has conducted. And the main aim really of the newsletter is to keep the community connected and informed about the joint research, the joint events, opportunities, and collaborations that are ongoing between Scotland and Africa. The newsletter hopes to inform a lot of internal communication, as well as develop new networks across the sector and facilitate different connections. It also wants to spotlight students. So I'm really hoping that some of the students who are part of this forum can be featured in the Scotland Africa Horizons newsletter, especially because I know that a lot of you are doing such incredible research that centers Malawi experiences, Malawi voices, Malawi innovations. So it would be really nice if you could share some of your work in that newsletter. In terms of coordination, the newsletter has key contact persons in each university. So each one of your university has a key contact to whom you'd submit content, about your project or about your work, and then they would now submit it to the Africa Working Group, and then we would work on publishing it in the newsletter. So yeah, I hope that I will be hearing from a lot of you. Last newsletter, the one that's just been piloted, had a lot of Malawi features, which is really exciting. And I'm hopeful that that'll be the case for the new issues to come. Yeah, so that's a little bit from me.
Thank you so much, Elita. Can I ask, where would people get access to this newsletter just published for future publications?
That's great. So I can put a link in the chat for where people can subscribe. So the best would be to subscribe to the newsletter so that you can get an update every time that it comes out. And you can be on the lookout. The next one should likely be out in February of next year. So every couple of months, content would be coming out, and I'll put a link in the chat.
Thank you very much for that. And can I just thank you for that work as well, and being Malawian as well. It's just, I think, cherry on the cake. So thank you so much for leading that project, but also for what you're saying, encouraging students and even us practitioners to engage with that as well. Thank you. I'd like to invite one of the Scotland Partnerships trustees, Bosco Chinkonda. He is studying for his PhD at Strathclyde, but I think he will introduce himself. And the reason why I'm asking him to speak, on the 10th of September, we had an interesting, I think the first time we've done that, we had an interesting conversation with Malawian students or Malawian potential students who are still in Malawi but interested to come and study in Scotland. They've been having a lot of questions over the years, and we thought that we would have a forum where we could preempt some of the questions and some of the sort of issues that they may have. And we held an online event, and which was quite well attended, in fact, oversubscribed. Very much well attended. I didn't attend that meeting because I was committed elsewhere, but my colleague Bosco was in attendance, and he's going to give us a report.
Thank you, Yonah. So just to clarify, I'm at the University of Glasgow. Scotland and Glasgow, even. So yeah, I'm there. But yeah, so I just want to provide a brief update on how the Malawian Scholars in Scotland online welcome event, as we branded it, went. And as Yonah has mentioned, this was on the 10th of September. So a little bit about myself before I went to the event. So I'm a PhD researcher with the University of Glasgow, as I mentioned, but I'm also a trustee of the Scotland and Malawi Partnership. And I'm in my final year of the PhD, where I'm looking into partnerships and control zoonotic diseases in One Health approaches. So on the 10th of September, we had a 1-hour online event to welcome the Malawian scholars that are prospective students here, but also those that are already here. So the event brought together alumni, but also the prospective students and the people. Dr. John Loanda usually calls Machona, describing those Malawians that have been in Scotland for quite a while. But the event was actually a response to the feedback that was received in a space like this one, where we gathered and looked at the need and for insights, experience, and reassurance to the prospective Malawian scholars coming to Scotland. Some sort of orientation. So this was the main focus of the gathering, to support those that are going to be studying in Malawi to integrate within Scotland amongst the Malawi and other communities. So the event provided the space for this engagement, but also it was an opportunity to answer questions about life and studies here in Scotland. And the event was not only organized by the Scotland and Malawi Partnership, but also it was organized in collaboration with the Association of Malawians in Scotland, which was well represented by its vice chair, but also the Malawi Scotland Partnership, and I see Linda is online as well, who is the CEO of that entity. So despite the objective that we needed to test the integration and all that, on a lighter note, the event was actually misunderstood by some to be like an event to discuss scholarship opportunities and all that. But of course, that was highlighted. But maybe that's a hint on what we could possibly be discussing in such a space later on, looking at the demand and the interest that the people actually have. In terms of the details of the session, so there was a number of issues that were discussed and the experiences shared. So Elita, Nasim, Mindy, who is also here, and myself had the privilege of igniting the conversations and sharing our individual but interconnected experiences and insights. So throughout the event, we discussed a number of issues, but I'll highlight about 6 key issues that were recurrent in that conversation. So number one was around the value of companionships and friendships in navigating a new world as you come to Scotland, coming from Malawi, whether through connections with individuals or institutions or networks like the SMP or MS. But it was emphasized in that discussion that these connections have a huge implication on one's capacity to integrate in this new setting. And in Elita's own words, she said, it's important because, meeting new people whom you felt a sense of home, trust, safety, and friendship was quite important in integrating here. Point number 2 that was there as a key point was the importance of the vast activities that one would enjoy by being here in Scotland. But of importance in that enjoyment of the activities, the scenery and the travel and all that was the need to be quite intentional about what you want to do and what you want to be part of. There's a lot of events going on as a student, a lot of networks that are there, but you have to be intentional about that, but also being intentional about how you take care of yourself in a place which is a new home and a new environment. One of the participants, Elizabeth, I don't think she's here, she highlighted as well the 3rd point, which is very important and well relatable to most of the participants, around the multicultural context and learning beyond the textbooks that being in Scotland provides, especially for Malawians here. And Mindy made a comment around how a lot of learning actually happens outside the lecture halls, which was quite important for those coming to join us in Scotland. And then fourthly, we looked into how it is important, I think, as a Malawian to embrace the value of technology when you move here. Google Maps actually works here. So it will take you to places and the importance of being partnered and all that. And then fifth point, which was quite important as well, was something to do with the difference in how culture and life is in terms of those that have come to Scotland with children in particular. And Grace, I don't think she's here as well, she made a good point on that, on how it's important that you realize how it's different to raise a child in Malawi and to raise a child here. Some things you can't do, some things you can do. But of importance was the support that is there around the communities, including the friendships that develop in space like this, where you can get guidance and support on how you can best navigate that space and even change communities that people go to. And finally, in terms of difference in terms of life as well, those issues that we discussed around access to health and services, but also how, you come here on a scholarship, sometimes you don't come here on a scholarship, but how to navigate the job market were also some of the things that were discussed there. And for those that need to navigate the job market as you're coming, Nasim provided very amazing insights. So in a nutshell, what next was provided in that space was emphasized by the SMP that it is in its interest, and as well as the interest of the collaborators, which is AMS and the Malawian scholars in Scotland, that such events should continue, and possibly SMP would be considering organizing an in-person welcome event to facilitate similar conversations. I'm sure that is going to happen at a later stage. And what we hope to see as a Scholar and Malawi partnership is a strong sense of community, as well as an enhanced voice of the students in the SMP, provision of opportunities where we can as SMP, both within SMP as secretariat, but also within our membership, and hope for continued engagement and legacy, even when our members return to Malawi. So you can access this online event recording on the YouTube channel, which is actually becoming a very rich resource people can refer to for different events. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Bosco. Quite enriching, and I think a good update as well that summarizes what took place on that day. I was interested in the issue of culture there as well, and I think one of the things, and I'm glad that people were even suggesting that it's just the beginning, that this should be continued, because we have a lot of Malawians who come over here. But also we must mention there are also Scots who sometimes go to Malawi, either to go on sabbatical or other various things. So I mean, this can be sort of beneficial to both communities. But for those coming from Malawi, maybe in the future also we must include things in the social space in Scotland for an African and for Malawian coming from men in particular. Sometimes the social space can be a little bit tricky. And I know these are sensitive matters, but I think having some open discussion about this is really helpful, because I know of some men who have been affected because they didn't know how to behave. I'm using quotation marks in the social space. And then they end up being deported, and police getting involved, and this sort of things, and so jeopardizing their sort of opportunity that they came here for things that if they had known before, probably they could have tried to do it in a different way. I'm just raising that as a future point for discussion, and I think we can be all open with one another in that space, in these sort of discussions.
Very briefly.
Yes, please, Stuart.
Thanks so much, Chair. Just to add that the Association of Malawians in Scotland are actually holding an in-person event to welcome Malawian students following the meeting that we had together, as Bosco rightly says. So it's Sunday the 23rd, this Sunday from 4 p.m. And I'm sure that information is available online from the Association of Malawians in Scotland.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Stuart. Yes, indeed. And towards the end, we might emphasize that as well, because I work too hard sometimes. I'm the patron of the Association of Malawians in Scotland. So kind of briefly a little bit about what's going on there, and this point about organizing, and that will be the first time that they've done that. But I think I'll come back to emphasize your point also later on, because there are certain things I want to sort of mention, especially to the new students who are coming over here. So thank you very much there. Is there any comment from the floor on Bosco's report? Or something you want to highlight or emphasize, or either both online and here in person? Okay. In the absence of that, Madam Linda Dembo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, indeed. I'm about to introduce to you. I was just making sure that the system is working okay. And from your response, it is working okay. I'm about to invite a distinguished lady amongst us, Madam Dembo, who is the CEO of the Malawi Scotland Partnership in the long way. And I know she's got a lot to tell us. There are visitors there, important visitors I might add, not too long ago. And I saw pictures of you with these visitors, so I'm going to mention them. But I'll leave the opportunity for you to do that. Please, if you're going to give us some update on what's been happening on the home front. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Yonah, for that introduction and for making my remarks very easy, because I think you've captured quite a few, even in your opening remarks when you mentioned about the skill curriculum review that is happening this side. That was also one of my updates. So I'm happy that my updates have already been captured, and really want to thank you for the opportunity so that I could share a few remarks from this side on what is happening in our Scotland Partnership. I'm sure with the global connectivity, it's really quite easy to follow what is happening this side and that side. And it seems like we are just one. And in summary, I just want to give you kind of our current focus and what we have been doing. We have been quite quiet because our focus was on working on our governance structures and also finalizing our 2025 to 2030 strategic plan. And we validated our strategic plan recently on the 14th of November, where I hope most of you were online joining us, and you have captured what our focus will be for the next 5 years. And we really appreciate your contributions towards the strategic plan. The plan emphasizes on inclusive governance, civic education partnerships, and evidence-based programming. And we also would like to kind of emphasize that last time I was here, I mentioned that we were making some attempts to also kind of come up with a forum for further education here in Malawi, so that we could coordinate the universities here in Malawi, that is both private and public universities. And we approached the Ministry of Education and wrote to the Ministry of Education, and we sent, we drafted a memorandum of understanding, but because of our current focus, we kind of did not really push on that. But we hope that now going forward, we will be able to have something structured, and then we'll be able to also share with you on exactly what our vision is. But this opportunity, I'll take it so that I can highlight a few other points that are in our strategic plan going forward for the next 5 years. And our strategic plan in the next 5 years includes objectives that resonate very much with the further and higher education forum for this one that I am attending. So we would really want to facilitate joint research between Malawi and Scottish institutions. We would also want to launch a mentorship program, a platform where university edition, where women could and youth could be mentored in different areas. And we'd also want to support the youth-led innovations and digital works model, which could actually support most of the work that the youth are doing. We would also want to strengthen civic academic collaborations in climate change, in health, as well as in governance. And also would like to facilitate, that kind of collaboration that contributes meaningfully to the agenda of the Further and Higher Education Forum. So like we have some groundwork here, and we're trying to work also to make sure that the chair, which is the governing body that accredits universities here in Malawi, is also very much in support of what we are doing, and there's good collaboration between us. And in terms of the curriculum reforms and inclusive education that Malawi is doing, currently we heard that was on 24th of October 2025, that the Malawi Institute of Education is actually updating their curriculum. And this is something that we would want to put forward for this forum to also kind of engage and explore how universities can support the teacher trainings and research and also policy alignment and the new curriculum that is being proposed. And we hope that this forum would also work in collaboration with universities here in Malawi, and you will make significant contributions to the inclusive education strides that are actually already being supported by the Scottish government, and also the many other academic areas of exchange that are already working well. And in conclusion, I guess I would say that we had the honor of having the First Minister visiting us here in Malawi. And this was very much significant for us because we saw that the support of the Scottish government was amplified, and giving us as Malawi Scotland Partnership to facilitate a meeting with CSOs here in Malawi this time with the First Minister was actually also a great honor, and the CSOs were able to spell out the needs for the areas of their concern. So this was a wonderful opportunity and a very good contribution from the Scottish government to show the support for the Malawi government. In conclusion, also, I would want to also resonate with the AGM of Scotland and Malawi Partnership, where they were celebrating the 20 years of Scottish government international development. And the First Minister's visit was really a mark of this 20 years of international development support to Malawi. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Dembo. Really appreciate your report. Quite full report there as well. I wondered if could you talk slightly more about your own AGM?
Yes, so our own AGM is actually coming up very soon. It's going to be a hybrid event. It's going to be on 4th of December, 2025. And we are also calling for interested Malawians that would like to join our board, because at least half of our board is going to be leaving. So it will be a wonderful opportunity to have new faces in the board, people that have a passion for Malawi as well as for Scotland. And we're really looking forward to that. And it will also be a chance to validate FEHE and also launch the strategic plan that I'm talking about. Yeah, thank you for that reminder.
Thank you very much. And I thank you also for sort of giving us a brief about the First Minister's time there. I saw pictures of you at the MaSP office. I've been to that office, and all of you here in this room, if you go to Malawi, please, you have to visit the London office for MaSP, where you see exactly where our colleagues are located. So it was interesting to see him at that office as well in the pictures that I saw. So thank you very much. I think one of the things I like to comment quite quickly, and I might ask others if they want to also sort of ask if they have a question directed to you, Ms. Dembo, is the issue of the curriculum or educational review. And I think it's an invitation here for discussion. I've read the document myself, and I think instead of it being a finality, to me it's an invitation for, I think, a much broader and much important discussion of what happens to Malawi education, what kind of future of education do we really want to see. At the moment, I'm part of the Scottish Government Parliamentary Forum, Scottish think tank on education. We've met twice so far, and it's interesting to see on this side of the world, the way they are thinking the future of Scottish education. It doesn't come to the public yet, but there's a thinking of how should the future look like of education in Scotland, and there are questions that are being asked. So thank you for highlighting that, and I think this forum, as you say, will need to find a mechanism of facilitating some kind of deeper conversations around the question of Malawi's new education system or the curriculum, and to see areas or gaps, if they do exist, where they can be strengthened to make sure that the curriculum is aligned, not just in Malawi or regionally, but also internationally, for the reasons that Professor Ntika and myself highlighted a few years ago. Thank you very much. Is there any questions to Ms. Dembo about MaSP, the work of MaSP? Those who want to know more, we've got a few minutes. Either online or here. Otherwise, 1, 2, 3, when it's gone, it's gone. All right, thank you very much. I just want to give an update on something on my agenda is to do with the Society of Malawi Journal. There was a meeting online, the date is escaping me, but not too long ago. Just a few weeks ago, there was a meeting of the Society of Malawi Journal. Now, you get a little background. Malawi has one of the oldest journals. It's called the Malawi Society Journal. And I think most countries in colonial times used to have a journal. And I'm aware they are published in the Botswana Journal because I worked for many years in Botswana and we used to publish there. So it's called Botswana Journal, similar to the Malawi sort of journal. So it was almost like it's a sort of a colonial relic, if you like, of how the colonial administrators and researchers and so on and so forth used to make comments about the place where they were. And they had established these journals. And these journals have remained. Of course, they've changed time, names as well, and the composition in editorship over time because of independence. Now, the Malawi Journal is now currently being edited by Dr. John Rwanda and Mr. David Bourne. Now, I had a conversation with Dr. Rwanda, and they are retiring. And they were asked, one of the main questions was to ask more Malawian sort of academics and researchers to be interested to be part of the conversation in this journal, either as peer reviewers or also taking up the leadership of the journal itself at some point. So I just wanted to highlight, I had a personal conversation with Dr. Rwanda and he saw me regarding this. They had their own meeting. I think because I'm also part of the peer review list of people who do peer review for them. And there's internationally all over the world. Most Malawians, I think, are you there as well? Yeah. Maybe you're not involved. Yeah, but maybe you should. Maybe you should. His plea, and I think it's our plea, was that we should not allow this journal sort of to, fade away. That I think there's a need to encourage the conversation and with new generations come up to take leadership of the journal and many other issues to do with it. So I just wanted to highlight that. I think they publish online. I can't remember the portal, but I think they're publishing online usually. Their own online, but it's called the Malawi Society Journal. Mm. And that's where they publish. Now, they publish both, if you like, academic papers, but not all the time. Some they publish commentaries or anecdotes, that kind of thing. So they mix up all that also with academic papers as well, that kind of journal. But it's interesting. One thing I would say about that journal in the recent volume, if you want to read the stories of John Chilembo, there's a revisionist history going on about John Chilembo, and they've captured it very well. If you want to read about John Chilembo's sons, there's a story there about it. It's an interesting story. And there's a new breed of Malawians who are writing what I may describe as revisionist history. And they are presenting very interesting stuff about Kamusbana, about John Chilembo, about the 1915 rebellion, and about the colonial enterprise in Malawi. They're looking at in a completely different sort of lens. And I think it's interesting to read of what's been written and published in that particular journal. Thank you very much.
I can just jump in real quickly, because as Yonah said, the Scotland and Malawi partnership helped facilitate that editors meeting through our Zoom account basically, but I was present in that meeting. And I think that the main, and I actually invited the Society of Malawi to, through yourself, kind of invite to the Further and Higher Education Forum, particularly the Malawi Scholars in Scotland program, that, anyone who would be interested. And I think their point of the journal is actually not academic level work sometimes, it is commentary. And so they want to keep it at that level, so it doesn't have to, but they would like your reviewers, make sure the quality is of a high standard. But also, as Yonah said, bringing in some fresh blood, some younger perspectives to keep the journal going forward. So, yeah. So if anybody feels that they would, although it is the historic and
but I think it's factual. I think it's useful factual sort of history.
So you don't have to be in
sociological in between kind of analysis, So yeah. If you are in those fields, I think that you should be very comfortable to either read the papers, but also to be part of the conversation in terms of either the peer reviewer or even contributing papers to it, by the way. Indeed, yeah.
And then actually at the moment, it's not digital. It is printed twice. There's two journals a year bound, and they're sent out, all over the world really. But they are looking at, support in digitizing it to make sure, because there is, as you know, 50 years of a treasure trove of materials in there, so.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, thank you so much, Anne. Any commentary on the Society of Malawi Journal or any thoughts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I would be interested to do some work on building maybe a digital portal for the journal.
They all appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
They really appreciate that, because one of the conversations, and this conversation happened both in that public forum, but also it happened behind the scenes, was that there had been some attempts in the past to sort of digitize it, but it didn't quite work out. So I think your expertise and your support, and maybe you could also identify others who could be help you to work towards and asking the journal if you could help in the digitization of the journal. I think that would be highly valued contribution. So thank you so much, Mr. Booth.
Just a question.
Yes,
How visible is the journal in Malawi? Or is it just one of the hills?
I think because it's published bound twice a year. Because I did humanities sort of degrees, just so we used to come across it. But if you're doing the sciences, you wouldn't be able to, you wouldn't come across it that often because it's slightly invisible, especially in the digital era. It isn't as visible as it should, but it could come as bound volumes. And also you have to subscribe and buy a copy. So when I say to them, no, we've moved on, everything's online these days, you can buy online and kind of thing. But I think they're looking for the kind of support that she's suggesting she can provide to say, how do we bring that into the digital sort of era to make sure that the volumes and the papers are online and they can be accessed quite easily that way.
Basically, your membership into the Society of Malawi is a subscription that supports the printing of the journal.
Of the journal. In printed form, So we can feedback this sort of conversation and support that's being suggested here. And I think that Dr. Wanda and Mr. Bond will be quite pleased to see that there's interest to support this work. Thank you very much. Now, it is the time that I'd like to invite both those who are here physically, but also those who are online, to sort of introduce yourself. Let us know briefly, a minute or two, what area you do, what sort of things you're involved in at the moment. If you are representing an institution, what are the legal things that are going on there? If you're a new student who's just joined, coming here to Scotland to study, please tell us more about your study briefly, what is happening, which university you are in, and also bear in mind what Stuart was saying, and I might emphasize later that there is an invitation for you to go and attend this interesting event. I'll say more about that. So you're quite interested in what I've seen. So I invite, should we start online or anywhere? Anywhere is fine, because it's hybrid. So hybrid is what it is. It's a secular motion. So whichever it goes, touch it. So if you're online, if you want to introduce yourself and the kind of work you're involved in and what you do, if you're involved in a university, which university, and are you involved in a research project? Are you involved with Scotland? If you're Scotland, involved in Malawi, and in what way? Thank you.
Jeremy Bagger, our chair there.
Our chair, is it Jeremy?
Yes, hi, Yonah.
Hi.
Hello, everybody. Just to get things started very briefly. So greetings from Malawi. I'm in Blantyre. On one of my sort of 6-week stints at Kamutsu University of Health Sciences. So my role has been linked to the joint working that's been going on that Linda was mentioning between the University of Glasgow and Kamutsu University of Health Sciences for a long time. And we've been involved with setting up Malawi's first Bachelor of Dental Surgery degree so that the country can train its own dentists. Had its first 10 graduates this year. There's 124 students currently on the programme. And in fact, we've got to the stage that we're having to do a compulsory curriculum review now because it's run through for 5 years. And the other project, or part of the project that's going on that's very exciting at the moment, is the construction of a new dental school and integrated teaching facility here on the campus. And in fact, I wasn't sure that I'd make this meeting because we've had a visit from the World Bank this morning, who are funding that project, where they come twice a year to inspect the works and gauge progress. So the meeting went fine. There's a few issues that need to be addressed, but it's being constructed by, led by a company called Mango Tree Construction from Zambia, but it's actually a Chinese company, but with local Malawian workers, and they're working extremely quickly. So the plan is that by Christmas, ideally, the roof will be on. So it's a 3-story building. And then the brickwork on the outside and the fit out can begin. So that's me, Yonah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take this opportunity just to thank Jeremy and the work's happened there. Let's just clap hands for this guy. There's something that's happened.
No, it's a team effort. It's a team effort. Great team.
Yes,
And it's a great example of partnership, actually. The team here are fantastic. And we work as one, and that's how it should be. Thank you.
Indeed, indeed. No, Jeremy, I've heard so much about this. In fact, I was in a conversation with one of the dentists in Malawi, and they were saying, you know, your project came at a time when there was very little or nothing. And within a few years, we have dentists graduating with degrees in dentistry and the dental school almost in completion. I mean, this is incredible stuff. You know what I mean? Really, this is rare achievement. And we just want to acknowledge and thank you sincerely for what you've done to the country and the collaboration between Malawian sort of academics and doctors here in Scotland and in Malawi as well, who has getting involved. And that collaboration is a beautiful example of what we're talking about when we talk about reciprocal partnerships, precisely this sort of projects, these sort of things that we talk about. So thank you so much, Jeremy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Any others who like to sort of please highlight the work you're doing and introduce yourself, please, as well?
Well, I'm happy to introduce myself.
Yes, please.
Thank you for the welcome. This is my first meeting. I'm John Campbell. My interest here is we've created a not-for-profit to look at transforming education, looking at reducing digital divide, looking at how we can engage with a worldwide group of learners. I used to work for the government up till April. I was transformation director, so I didn't know about this program, which was quite interesting. And also one of the directors in our charity has been working with the charitable J8, which is doing literacy exchange with Malawi schools. So that was the connection. So what we're trying to look at is how can we really bring the best teachers to teach the widest audience, and look at how we can do two things. We're looking at how we can look at the financial challenges, the poverty challenges across the world, and the African countries have been highlighted in rural communities, but also how can we give them the best chance for success. So in my role in government, it was all about making change happen. And the problem with government is you can't do it quickly. It's just governed and regulated. So my intention is to bring something very quickly to try and work with groups like yourself. Now, that being said, we are creating a digital platform, and we are looking for partners into the first quarter of next year, so in January. And it's all about bringing the right teachers. We're linking it to all the different curriculums around the world, the outcomes. But more importantly, it's all about learn and earn. If somebody's learning, they will earn. And we've linked it and written all the digital code to be connected to digital currency. And anyone succeeding, being taught by a teacher, will earn digital tokens which will have financial value. So there's this learn and earn concept that we want to get there. So it's a motivational reward platform using agentic AI, using blockchain, all the different transformational technologies you can imagine we might. So we've got some smart people developing a smart platform, and it's being done for the social good. The charity that we've created, or a not-for-profit, is Global Digital Community. And we really want to grow that community across the piece. One of my co-directors in the company, or co-leaders, is a Rwanda professor. So we will look at Rwanda. Some of the teachers we've got connected are from Ethiopia, so there's a natural link there. And I'd love to have a link with Malawi because of the Scottish pool and the activities you're already doing. So it's really a wonderful opportunity, and it'd be great to connect in with whoever to see if we can get something going. We'll learn on a journey, but I think there's a real transformational opportunity here.
Thank you so much. In fact, my question was going to say, what about Malawi? We're going to go to Malawi. You just mentioned that you're looking at that opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
There's itself.
I think that the Scottish partnership is such a strong
indeed
lever. We'd really like to look at that and see how we can make a difference.
Thank you very much for sharing that as well. Where are you based? Are you based here in Glasgow? Or?
Well, we're based in Stirling, which is close.
Okay.
It's only up the road. We've got a partnership with Glasgow University looking at their advanced technology.
Okay.
So we have got partnerships with the universities here as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you. The floor is still open. What about others? Any projects? Please introduce yourselves. If you're a student, please introduce yourself and people know what you're doing. How interesting your topic is.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, I'm Kondwan Chizewisano here in Blantyre, Malawi.
Welcome.
And yeah, it's nice to join this meeting and to hear all updates. I work with the Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences as an academic, but also as a researcher. And it's quite good to see a number of familiar faces in the meeting. I should say that I am an alumni of the University of Strathclyde, both for my master's, but also for the PhD. So it's quite good to always connect with the members of SMP, but also the Malawi Scotland partnership. I should say that I've done a lot of projects with Scotland, especially academic institutions like University of Strathclyde, University of Stirling, but also I've been in touch with Jeremy. It's nice meeting you, Jeremy, in this meeting today. We are trying also to find a way that maybe we can work with the University of Glasgow in one of the research projects about oral health and hygiene in Malawi, especially among the kindergartens, that is the young children. So I hope something will come out of that. But I should say that in terms of the projects, specifically, our projects have been focusing on the water, sanitation, and hygiene, looking at issues of antimicrobial resistance, but also issues of environmental health, like issues of waste management and other related issues. And it has been really a very good relationship, more especially with the University of Strathclyde and the Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences. So when you talk about trying to strengthen collaborations between academic institutions, I think that's really something that is great. And since we already have such kind of collaborations in the background, I think there's a need really to strengthen that. Maybe the question could be, how best can we strengthen the collaborations between academic institutions in Malawi and in Scotland? But more especially here in Malawi, I think trying to include the private institutions, because for the past years, what I've seen is the public institutions, like our institution, really, we have had good collaborations, but how best can we ensure that we also bring in private institutions within such kind of arrangements? Because we can also learn more if we bring in private institutions in such kind of collaborations. But really looking forward to all these kind of discussions and also moving on with.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. You frozen there a little bit. No, just in time. Just in time, just frozen out. Imagine. But I just want to thank you so much for sharing the update, but also your familiarity with Scotland, that you've been here and been studying at this university, and the sort of projects that you are currently involved in or have been involved in the past. You mentioned something close to my heart, and my colleagues here will know this exactly where I'm going with this. You mentioned the private institutions in Malawi. For the first time, I've heard this clearly laid out and the question asked. And I think that's a way to go. And I think Ms. Linda Dembo also did mention that as well. And maybe you've asked an important question. If I ask Ms. Dembo, could you help me answer that question? Because you remember on several occasions we had meetings, we had some discussions around creating a similar forum like this one. How far have you gone with that? Because that would be of greater interest, especially to our colleagues who are in Malawi, and they're asking this very important question: how do we bring everybody on board?
Yeah, I mentioned that I think for this reporting year, we didn't really do much because our focus was on the programming. But I would want to assure Malawian universities, the private ones as well as the public ones, that we are trying to come up with our own forum where Malawian universities can come together and collaborate together, and we'll do the coordinating as MaSP. So yeah, we are working hand in hand with the Ministry of Education as well as the National Council for Higher Education. We've already made those steps, and we have visited a few universities as well to just see on the modalities how we can do it. And then what is remaining is just to roll it out and bring the investors together, and then they set out the rules and how and then operationalize the forum itself. Indeed.
No, thank you so much. I'm really glad that there's something going on there. There's some planning bring on board the similar forum that could easily collaborate with us as well, because they would have an existing platform already of discussion over there. I see your hand, sir. You want to come back? Is it a latest hand or a new hand?
It's a new hand. I just wanted to comment on what has just been said. That I think for us as a university, I should give an assurance to Rinda that we're very much interested to be part of that collaboration. And if you want to work with the institutions that have been in touch with the academic institutions in Scotland, please don't hesitate to come to us, and we can always find a way how best can we bring in private institutions in such arrangements. Thanks, and over.
Thank you so much. Please share your contacts in the chat so that I can pick it up from there.
Yeah, thanks. We'll do that.
Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Professor G.
I was going to ask whether there is the level of collaboration among us. So MOBAS, for example, or COES and the private investor local in Malawi. Yes. Because I know last time, I'm Peter Mchika from the University of Strathclyde, and I've been to Malawi recently, and we're trying to set up a collaboration between that time I was in Aberdeen, University of Aberdeen, and one of my colleagues, Ken Jeffrey, and we're trying to link up with Livingstonia. Yes. The work I think is ongoing. We haven't yet got where we want to be. We're trying to see if we can get some funding, but we just went, for Livingstonia. I went to Livingstonia Secondary School, for example, and Ken Jeffrey was my teacher there. So we've got a strong connection to try to make the collaboration happen. I wonder whether, at the national level, there's discussions going on between the different, the government and the private universities, and then it would be easier, I guess, to bring the private universities on to some of the discussions. And how many of them are part of the Malawi-Scotland partnership, for example, as a way to getting into this collaboration with us over here?
Yeah, thank you, Professor Mchika. Actually, Ms. Dembo, back to you quickly, because remember we had this conversation. I'm glad that finally, there's something going on, regarding this particular question. You see, the questions that Professor Mchika is asking and the comments he's making are quite very valuable. And I think it will be you to provide an update on this, based on the previous discussions we have had, where we are at.
Actually, I'm happy to see Professor Mchika, because I met him briefly that time when he came with Reverend Dr. Jeffries to meet the University of Livingstonia. And I'm actually a bit sad that nothing has really happened. I also followed up a bit with him and Professor Jeffries on where they are at. And it's just an apply indeed that there's need for us to wake up from our sleep and make sure that the forum that we trying to set up is actually now operational. So I want to assure Professor Mtika that we're going to do our best, and you're going to hear good news, and we'll make sure we follow up also on the link between the University of Aberdeen and the University of Livingstonia to make sure that if there's something that is a hiccup that is actually delaying the link to operationalize, is actually we'll make sure that we stand in between to facilitate that link, that it should be up and running. And also the forum, I should assure you that it will be set up very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful. Thank you. So that's an answer to this. So it's been a broader conversation. It's been going on about a year or two now, but I think it's come to some fruition just based on what Ms. Linda Dembo has just mentioned. And we're really interested to have this set up there, and it will really facilitate and make things much easier because there will be already a platform there for people just to tap into that platform.
I'd like just to acknowledge there that we know within the Scotland and Malawi partnership and MaSP that all the partnerships, whether they're within education or health or whatever, rely on the champions behind those partnerships. So, Kondwani's being very, meek there, but, it's his partnership, with Professor Morse, from years past, and that Mubas and University of Strathclyde have signed a renewed MOU last year, as you know, when we had the VCs visiting. So, but I know between Kondwani and Tracy, they were the driving force to make sure that happened. So when we look at government or we look at institutions, it's actually the people who make those partnerships actually happen. So, Peter, well done to you, for the work that, we're doing with Livingstonia. So I think, I guess just to encourage not to sit back and hope that the powers that be make it happen. We have to make sure those partnerships.
Part of the conversation and part of the strategic sort of planning, make sure these things to happen indeed. Thank you very much. I see Mr. William Kalinda, you are online. Mr. Kalinda.
Yes.
I see you online. Yes, sir. I just want to give you this opportunity to recognize you as well with the sad passing of Alan, and I know the kind of work that Alan was doing, and in collaboration with you, especially there in Malawi. And I wonder if you've got a few words to say, maybe about Alan, or more broadly about the work that Alan and yourself have been doing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I never expected to have such opportunity to speak. I was just joining because I love education, and I'm a graduate of University of Livingstonia, and I was just looking forward to learn more on what people are doing. Yes, it's sad for me to lose Alan, and as I'm speaking, I'm still in Scotland, where he invited me to be with him. We'll be going back home on Sunday. I'll be in Malawi, I think, by Monday, and Tuesday I'll be back in the office to strategize how we go forward with what we started doing with Alan in providing school feeding programs to the young people in the northern Malawi. So as of now, I don't have much to say, but I'll be keeping in touch with Malawi Scotland Partnership, Linda, and all other folks, and then Scotland Malawi Partnership, Stuart and Chad and the rest of the office. And then through them, you'll be able to get more reports. But also I look forward to engage with this platform and keep on updating how we are doing with the programs that we were doing with Alan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for those words. The forum is still open More voices, others who want to give some updates?
Colin is.
There's a hand here, and who else? Okay, let's start the hand here and then we'll call online. Who's online?
Colin Riley from.
Colin Riley. So we'll start here and then Colin Riley, please.
So my voice is a bit bad, but then I'll try to speak. So my name is Digani Salema. I am a PhD candidate at Strathclyde University Center for Forensic Science. So a bit, I think I've been interested and I've been engaged in one or two activities with Scottish Malawi Partnership, including the setting up of a Blantyre Research Lab.
Yeah.
And again, I also set up the Lusaka Blantyre Lab in Zambia. So within the period I was working with Scotland and then COHES at the time, then I was actually able to see some gaps which are there in Malawi in terms of science and the rest. One of which was the forensic science part. So what I can say is currently Malawi doesn't have any forensic analysis system. And this gap is not just about the missing technology, but there are so many weaknesses in key areas, like the coordination between the judiciary, police, the academicians is not there, even the medical profession is not there. And then again, there's no any data which Malawi can use, even if it doesn't have today, to say they want to do forensic analysis. They will depend on data maybe from Tanzania or South Africa. So my project is termed as the foundational triad. So I'm looking at the infrastructure part of it, then the database. I mean, to find out which markers would be relevant to use for the Malawian population and establish a database that can be used. So I plan to have a chat with. So my project actually it's a multidisciplinary. So I have a quantitative and qualitative part of it. So I'll have a chat with the judges just to understand if maybe, because I know a few people will take their samples maybe to South Africa, if it's a rape case or parental case, they bring the samples. How do they understand the results? So I'll get the idea there. I will also get an idea from the medical team. How do they approach if someone has come in to say I've been raped, for example? How do they approach it? What samples do they take? Then I also have a chat with the police. If you have been called to say someone has been raped and you land to that location, what do you do? How do you collect your samples, if any, or how do you manage the victim? So these are the things which I want to do. And on top of that, I'll go back to Malawi probably next year to get some samples. So I'm in discussion with Malawi Blood Transfusion now. We'll have our separate consent form. So we want to get samples from donors. So we actually understand the population of each district, and they get representative samples. And then roughly maybe we'll have 500 to 800 samples. Then we'll come up with a database. So that would be a clear presentation of the Malawian markers and what can be used. And from there, then we can see how we can actually lobby for a lab for forensic activities. On top of that, now I'm interested when I hear about forensic cases in Malawi. So like the 3-4 days, 2 days, a young doctor has been killed in Malawi.
Yes, indeed.
So that's a crime scene. But then I was surprised that the following day, I think they still happened about 11 p.m.
Yes.
The following day, they are holding the vigil at the very same place. So meaning to say they have cleared everything there. So I was wondering, I said, oh, okay. So if that's the case, I wrote a 300 person to say to police. Actually, I couldn't blame the family The family was confused. But they needed guidance from relatives, relevant authorities. So I was asking the police to say, okay, it's a crime place, it's a crime scene. Have you managed to secure it and get all the possible samples? Because when you look at it, it's a plain clear case where people damage the brick wall and then force themselves into the house. Definitely, there can be a lot of spots where you can get your DNA for analysis. Even if you don't have a lab for DNA analysis, but that can still be solved as a court case. Have you managed to get the samples just to keep them? We don't have the facilities, but you can keep them. Whether 3, 4, 5, 10 years, people do solve as court cases. You will get that. But then it seems nothing happened. And now maybe the police will use other means to get the perpetrators, but not the scientific method. Because right now we can comfortably say it's all contaminated. Definitely the mourners and the well-wishers, let's see where they go. And they clean the place. Yeah, so that's about. So I'm hoping that it will have an impact to the Malawi population. And again, I take an opportunity to actually talk to the government through the line to say, I think this is the right time to have this facility for all these activities. Yeah, so that's basically.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. This is one of those things that's so foundational, but the impact is so immense, precisely not just with the examples you've given, but the kind of work that you're doing that can support in dealing with issues that you've just identified. Do you work with the police?
No. So I don't work with the police. I have worked with the Zuzu Center before I moved to Kuhes, but then now I'm not working with them.
Oh, I see. Just so that we see the connection there.
But I do know the county's had a couple of conversations with some of the individuals who are involved in the Police Scotland, links and partnerships with Malawi, which are based on gender-based violence.
Yes.
So, there's definitely a longer-term partnership there between Scotland and Malawi. So hopefully that can also, the county's research can also lead into that in terms of what the support that Scotland's trying to give through Police Scotland.
Yeah. I mean, this is foundational work, isn't it, that he's doing. So
So just to add on to that as well, we're just having a conversation around the same and the potential collaboration that this could facilitate between the universities and the multidisciplinary nature of the work. Looking at some of the challenges that we've mentioned are pretty much implementation challenges. So there is the science and the lab, but there's also the culture and the social science in it to say, well, I mean, even the example is given. The police might be interested to secure the crime scene, but in the Malawian culture, we're going to secure the funeral place. So what does that happen? So there's a lot that we could learn from his work and try to rationalize some of the things that is fundamental. And facilitate.
But easily that PhD is the main purpose is to solve a problem. So that's why the student says, tell me the problem. Yes. Tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what is the problem. So if you're able to identify and articulate the problem, and then you can want to solve the problem, that's what academic studies ought to be doing. And if your work precisely is doing that, there's a problem, and we're going to find how we're going to address or solve the problem, isn't it? Yeah. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
I think one sentence is I think the work also helped with to come with the issue of albino killings.
Yes.
I've so far had a conversation with the CEO of APA. Was like, okay, we have so many cases with police, but then these are bones, and then we don't know what to do with the bones. We know that someone missed somewhere, but then we can't connect. And again, if a person is caught with body parts, it's hard for the police to say so and so was murdered until 7 years passes. Then they'll say, okay, this person, if it's just missing, then they'll declare him dead or something. So there are so many cases where these bones actually need to be identified, but then we don't know in what condition they are killing the police. The police are killing this. So there's apart from the lab, there's a very huge need for civic education and actually telling the police what to do. Because I think it's garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah, indeed. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate your work and wish you all the best when that is concluded and the impact that you might have on the country actually. The space is still open for a few more minutes. Anyone would like to share updates? Yes, Colin.
Yes, thanks very much. Nice to be here today at the forum. Yes, my name's Colin Riley. I'm a lecturer in linguistics at the University of Stirling. I'm currently working on a research project called Multilingual Markets, investigating language skills for informal employment in Malawi. So this is a 2-year British Academy project, and it's working sort of interdisciplinary with economists, linguists, and historians. And it's a collaboration between myself at the University of Stirling, Kristen Hermanton in the School of Education at the University of Glasgow, and Winford Masanjala, Gift Kaira, Amadou Mjaya, and Victor Chika Ipa at the University of Malawi. So just very briefly, the project, we're interested in sort of thinking about the links between language and the economy and language in the labour market. So often, I suppose within my field of linguistics, when we're thinking about languages for work, we tend to focus on the formal sector and we focus on languages like English. So we are interested in sort of exploring the other side of things. So looking at informal employment, the informal economy, and thinking about multilingualism and how multilingualism operates in the labour market. So we're about halfway through the project at the minute, and our kind of aims are to develop an understanding of how multilingualism operates in the informal economy in Malawi, to think about how people value language and languages and different language skills. And then also to sort of see how this might link in with education. So to think about the language skills that we see as being valuable for employment opportunities, to think about how people might be able to develop and acquire those skills. That's all I'll say. I'm happy to chat at more length about it. If anyone is interested in it, please get in touch and I can give more information. I should also say I'm very biased. So as a linguist, I think language is relevant to everything. So if anyone would be interested in thinking about how language or linguistics might link in with research that you're doing, I'm very happy to chat about potential collaborations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Colin. Really interesting, the kind of projects that you're doing, and the multi sort of layered sort of approaches that you're taking. One or two updates from others? Should I just speak people from here? Professor Tika, what are you doing? What work are you doing? And then others will like.
What research? I mean, I've just finished a piece of research last year on looking at, the teacher shortage crisis in Malawi. But I wasn't collaborating with any Malawians during that project. We're currently trying to do another project, hopefully in January, going to Malawi to look at, if you go to Malawi, for those of you in Malawi, you know that most rural schools don't have teachers. So everyone who, when people are, they finish their teacher training college, they get a job, they're posted in the rural school. The first thing that they want to do is to go to the cities. So rural schools tend to have as less teachers as possible. So we're trying to look at it, to do some research on using a district choice experiment and looking at various factors that might motivate teachers to go and work in the rural schools. So it's a kind of an experiment. We've got some of the tools designed, and then we hope to try and do that research with student teachers at teacher training colleges in Malawi. There's been some work done by the World Bank on how to deploy teachers to rural schools, not just in Malawi, in most of the low-income, contexts. Most of that seem not to be working at all. So we hope that this can give us some insights on whether, if you look at a range of factors for Malawi that might keep teachers in rural schools, where, if anything, we need more teachers in rural schools than in cities.
Thank you very much.
So that's one, but
Thank you. Anyone online as we edge towards rounding up? I think silence is golden.
Are you raised by Anne? I don't know.
Yes, please.
I don't know.
Sorry.
All right.
Yes, please.
All right. Cheers. All right. So I am Andrew Male, currently in my penultimate year of my PhD with the University of Glasgow. I'm studying for a PhD in infectious diseases and currently based at the Center for Virus Research. But also aside from that, I'm a member of faculty with the Kamuzu University of Health Sciences. So there is already that collaboration. My project is primarily looking at characterizing the lung microbiome in HIV and TB infected adults, basically to improve treatment guidelines because I'm a clinician scientist. Apart from doing clinical research, I have some interest mostly in bioethics, especially the issues around informed consent in clinical research. And also completing my master's in that field. So I'm happy to collaborate with anyone who works around infectious disease research, especially diagnostics and microbiome work, but also anything around bioethics and clinical research. Yeah, pretty much that's me. Also, this is my first time joining the meeting, and I hope to collaborate more with people in SMP. Cheers, thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. So you just started, as you say, just started your PhD, yeah?
My penultimate year, so 2 years to go.
So you broke up a little bit there, I missed you. 3 years ago. Oh, 3 years ago, okay, sorry, I got it now.
2 years to go, no. 2 years to go.
2 years to go, okay.
Yes.
So you're in the first year, so you've got 2 years to go. So thank you so much for sharing that important work that you're doing.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else who's new to the forum who might want?
Just some introductions. I'm from SQA, Scottish Qualifications Authority.
Yes, please.
We're just down the road.
Yes, I know that your office is just here, isn't it?
We've got this on street, so I thought rather than attend the online, I'd come and just meet you in person. So I'm the Business Development Manager for SQA. SQA, obviously, you're probably familiar with the sort of awarding and accreditation body, but I represent the sort of the commercial entity of SQA. So very much here just for sort of potential collaboration or networking. And you talked obviously about curriculum development. That's the sort of areas that we do. Certainly in my field, we focus on international work, particularly in areas like TVET and education. So if anybody would like to have a discussion in terms of how we can help you, we are an NDPB, so we don't have a lot of cash, but we do have a lot of knowledge, and certainly we're getting quite a good network around the sort of African regions. So we're very keen to explore ways that we can perhaps help each other, just even if it's a case of putting your name with ourselves, just to sort of create this collaboration. And like I say, I'll leave my name with you.
Yes.
And hopefully have discussions for how we can perhaps move forward.
Indeed.
In the future. So
Indeed.
thank you very much for
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. You mentioned something interesting for the Malawi government, actually.
Yeah.
Even the new government, I think they are highlighting, because in the previous, they were highlighting TVET, like sort of what's called post-secondary sort of technical type of education, as opposed to just university degrees. So there is a lot of emphasis already in the thinking, at least of this new government, from what I can see, that they are already thinking about this direction. And even the structure of the new curriculum, if you look at it, the education system, they talk about the 1, 3, 3, 3. And the other 3, if you look at it, it's more technical. So it's going the technical direction. So I think, so that kind of conversation is really quite important. And you see how best in learning from experience from others as well, and also initiating new ideas and how best Malawi can navigate that. So the outcomes are much better for that technical sort of qualification that Malawi might offer. So thank you so much. And yes, of course, we'll pass your name around. But the good thing is that both online and here, we have people already in Malawi and others who are quite listening.
Yes.
And probably might keep in touch, or you can pass your name to us or to the SMP, and we'll be able to facilitate that. Yeah. Thank you very much. One last person. Oh, but Oh, is it Matemba? Yes, please.
You're muted.
You're on mute.
Hi, my name is Baby Mvula. I'm one of the executive members of Malawian Association in Scotland. So I just wanted to welcome everybody to invite everybody to our event on Sunday. Everybody's welcome to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Actually, that was one of the last things I wanted to say. So both you, Stuart, and Mr. Mvula there have done fantastic work. Indeed, yes, indeed. Indeed. In the absence, I'm looking at time, in the absence of any other comments, you can write in the chat as well, or later after this meeting, you can get in touch with us with thoughts and ideas, moving certain aspects we found particularly helpful for you or for your work to us so that we can pass it on to others, and that's it okay. But just to emphasize what Stuart had said earlier and what Mr. Mvula just said just now, that on the 23rd, which is Sunday, there's a big and important event inviting in particular, all new Malawian students who have come to study in Scotland, but also not only the new ones, but even the older students, those who already spent a year or 2 years, you're all invited to come. I think this will be the first sort of major event that the association has organized for new students. One of the feedback we got last year was that when new students come, they were lacking what you presented Bosco very well in that meeting online. They were lacking the connection with Malawi. There are a lot of Malawians who live here, right in Glasgow, in Aberdeen, right in this space. And people weren't aware of that. If they did, maybe get a family member here and there. But there's actually a very robust community of Malawians right here in Scotland, even here in Glasgow. And they've got an association, and that association coordinates their activities. And there are a lot of things that's going on. I know there's a December event. Now they've just organized a particular event for all the postgraduate students who have come from Malawi. So please do come and patronize the event. Please do come. The details are online. I see there is a flyer there. So details online, but also you can get in touch with us if you're not sure in terms of the place. What's the postcode? Is K. Stuart, you had the postcode, didn't you? Is G or K?
Community Center, Barbary Hill. G21 3AE.
AE. So it's Glasgow G21 3AE, beginning at 4 o'clock up to maybe 7 o'clock. And please, you are all invited to come and attend. Thank you very much on that major announcement, an important announcement. And even our Scottish friends, why not? If you have got time, please do come and join us. We're coming to the end of our forum today, and thank you so much, everyone else, for coming. It is a pleasure for me as chair of the forum to sort of preside the discussions that have been going on, but also just to thank everyone else who has presented or shared thoughts, both those who are in Malawi, also who are here in Scotland in this particular room, and see the fantastic projects that are going on, but also to hear future collaborations and platforms that have been set up to support future collaboration. And I think that's an important point for us to emphasize here. Look at all of us as friends, collaborators, colleagues who can work together on many different things. And I think if we do that, I think we're going to support the work of higher education in Malawi. But I think inversely also for the benefit of Scotland, why not? I'm sure that there's a benefit for Scotland as well with the work that's going on with the dental school, the work you're doing for forensic. I think Andrew was talking about an interesting project. I mean, it's a benefit for everybody else, isn't it? A healthier Malawi, a happier Malawi, I'm sure is a happier Scotland. And asking why? Because Scots are friends of Malawians and Malawians are friends of Scotland. So if Malawi is happy, Scots will be happy too. I want to thank you so much for coming today and the close of our meeting today. Thank you. There will be, I just want to say that I think the video, isn't it? The recording will be made available, I think, on YouTube or other places for people to watch who didn't manage to attend the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you for joining once again.